Hello my friends, my name is Dragonheart, the Prince of Wales, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we will be looking at the Nomadic Waaagh. So yeah, there's going to be quite a lot to talk about today. So what I will be doing, in the description below you will see that there are timestamps. If you want to look at my list of Nomadic Waaagh and look at my models, then just skip ahead. But for the first few minutes of this video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about my sort of introduction into the hobby and where the orcs and goblins come into that. So my start in this hobby basically came many years ago through the Total War games. So I used to play Total War Warhammer quite a lot. For many years I made many Total War videos. My friend Paul, also known as Lord Rexasaur, he is a big Warhammer fan. He plays the tabletop. He's been playing for many years. He basically got me into it, and what we were doing last year was we were talking to each other quite frequently about, Old World's going to be coming out. It'd be quite cool if we got ourselves some games, if we got some models, that kind of thing. He already has like a Skaven army and a High Elf army. I had zilch, basically. So what I ended up doing was buying myself some Orc and Goblin units. I got some Black Orcs. I basically got some like sprues on eBay, like 8 of them on a sprue, 10 of them on a sprue, that kind of thing. Cutting them off, priming them, and having a go at painting them. Then get to sort of January time, All World finally drops, it releases. My friend Paul, he gets the Bretonia set, I get the Tomb King set, and the models I was working on at that point for Orcs and Goblins, I kind of just sort of pushed them to one side and focused primarily on the Tomb Kings. And I built up my Tomb Kings, I've painted them all, I've had about 6 or 7 battles by this point now with them, and I'm quite comfortable using that army. But I want to get to a stage where I want to finally play as my Orcs and Goblins. And what I've been doing in the background every sort of few weeks or so is I'll get an Orc and Goblin unit and I'll start adding a bit of paint to it, adding a bit to it while I've been playing as well. But I'm at a point now where the Orcs and Goblins are not finished. However, I have finished a Nomadic Waaagh list that is fully painted, that is based, that can be used on the drop right now in a battle or that sort of thing. So what we're going to do in this video is go into my list. I have made a list of 2,000 points on the money, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through each unit, what sort of the strengths and weaknesses and what my thinking was with that unit. I basically built this list off of a few things. One is 2,000 points dead on. It is a Nomadic Waaagh, so it's what's in the Arcane Journal, so there's obviously certain rules you got to comply with that. It's based on the models that I own. So you might be saying, why haven't you put this unit in or that unit? That's because I probably don't own that unit or don't have enough models for that unit and that kind of thing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But what I would say is, have a look at my list. Let me know what your thoughts are. If there are things you would suggest, items you think might be better than the items I've included, where they can free up some points, maybe for something else, that kind of thing. Because I'm learning at the end of the day. I am brand new to the hobby. And the more that I play, the more that I learn, the more that I watch battle reports, and the more that I read comments that are very helpful, the better I will become as a player. But anyway guys, I've been Dragonheart. Without further ado, let's have a look at my Nomadic Waaagh. So first up, we have an Orc War Boss, which is worth 287 points. He has a great weapon, he has heavy armor, and he is on the Wyvern, or Wyvern, however you like to pronounce that. I've always gone with Wyvern, but maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, I'm not really sure. I know a lot of people call it a Wyvern. It has the Troll Hide trousers, which is great because it gives a +1 to its overall armor value, and it also gets it the ability to have a regen on a 5+, which is really handy. You'll notice with my Wyvern/Wyvern by here, I've gone with the color red. There is a reason for that, and that is because I'm quite bored of the traditional green colour Wyvern or Wyvern. I quite like the colour that we have now. I think that red breaks up the green on the Black Orc War Boss by here, and I find that when it's just a green body with a green War Boss on top, it just kind of looks a bit meh, if you know what I mean. Could this be painted a lot better? Of course, there's always room for improvement. There are some blotches on here when I zoom in this close, which could be done. I've done a bit of a pattern on it as well. You'll see I've got some like bits of red on there. I've got like a bony kind of like pale color on the spine of the Wyvern as well. I've done a bit of a design on the shield and stuff, which I'm quite proud of. And then you'll see on the bottom by here, if I just zoom back out a little bit, just so you can see it a bit better. I've got like a skeleton on the bottom as well, just to make it look a little bit like, you know, he's been munching away at things as well. But this is my general, this is my leader, this is the Azag the Slaughterer model. I'm quite happy how it turned out. The detailing on Azag I'm quite happy with. I spent a lot of time on him and he looked pretty decent. The Wyvern, this is the first time I've ever painted something with like scales and wings and stuff, so it's a bit trial and error. I'm happy enough with how it's turned out. Maybe I'll go back in and do some more with it at some point, but I wanted just to do something to break it up, because you know, I could easily just slap green on it and be done, but I wanted to try something a little bit different. That's why I've gone with like the scales, and then I've gone with like a darker slaughter red color from Army Painter, and then I've used the Carmine Dragon paint to go over the top. I've done like bits of white sort of slashes over this first, waited for that to dry up, and then I've gone with Carmine Dragon, which is like a pinky red over the top then to make it look better. But like I said, this is my general. He's going to be leading the Nomadic Waaagh, and he has some pretty good stats, so he's going to be there basically charging in, taking out what he can, supporting my other units, and hopefully winning glorious battles. So next up we have a Black Orc Big Boss, which is worth 282 points. It has a hand weapon, it has full plate armor. It is my battle standard bearer, which you can see, we'll call this the battle standard at the back, but there. It is a Black Orc chariot with additional hand weapon, so I get an extra attack. It has the Talisman of Protection, which gives it a 5+ ward save. It has Spiteful Shield, which is quite handy because when an enemy rolls ones, basically you got to re-roll them, and they will suffer a Strength 4 hit, which is quite useful. It means that I can be a little bit more potent in combat. I'm quite happy with this model. I'm not really the best when it comes to painting, as you can tell from some of these models. I am basically learning, but I'm quite happy with how it turned out. With my boars, I've basically tried to do different colors for all of them. I've gone for like an orangey color for the like the neck rests for the boars, and then I've gone like a bit of an orangey color on the hair on this by here. I've used the like a pink sort of color here just to try and make things a little bit different. Now you'll notice this isn't an actual black boar on here. This is just a regular orc that I had noggin about, which I liked his hat. I thought his hat looked like a train driver kind of cap, so I just thought that was quite funny. So he's like my train driver basically. When the Black Orc chariots are on time, he will be going choo-choo as he charges. Just got a little bit funny with that, but yeah, quite happy. Looks okay. Can I improve this? Of course I can. I can go back into all my models and improve them in any way, but for what I'm using them for, I'm more of a gamer. I just want to play. I'm happy enough. So that is my Black Orc Big Boss on Chariot. So next up we have another Orc War Boss. This is at 226 points. So he has a hand weapon, he has an additional hand weapon for an extra attack, he has light armor, he has shield, he is on a war boar, he has the Armor of Destiny, which gives him a 4+ ward save, which is really, really handy. He has Dathinkin Orc's Art, which basically is really handy. So what that means is that he does not suffer the impetuosity. Orcs on boards, they'll have an impetuosity check where if they fail it, they have to declare the charge. But with him and any unit he joins, they do not suffer the impetuosity rule, and also his initiative gets improved by 1 as well. So this model I actually got from Troll Trader, and it was more or less painted up for me to an extent. I've obviously done some work on the basing, I added a few little colours here and there, but I was quite happy with how it looked. He's got like some serrated kind of like knives type of thing, I guess, on the back of there. He's a little bit darker than the other models that I have in my range, so I think I might go back in and lighten up especially the green on him, but I'm quite happy with how he looks overall. But he's going to be in with my boars, which we'll get to later, and he will be in there basically buffing them up with his initiatives and things like that. So very happy with him, and he goes in as my 3rd character. And my 4th and final character is a Goblin Oddnob at 205 points. He's a level 4 wizard on a giant wolf. He has the Ruby Ring of Ruin, and he will be using the Law of Elementalism, at least starting off anyway. And this is the model by here. I've zoomed in so you can see a bit of the detail. I'm really happy with how he's turned out. All of my Goblin Wolf Riders look pretty decent by my standards. I'm quite happy with how they did. And you'll see them in a moment now once we move on to them. But you'll see them using the model which is from the Goblin Wolf Rider set. That is because I do not have a specific character model for a goblin on wolf. I'm just going to use this one for now. And I've gone with like a little brown kind of fur with a bit of detailing on him as well. Got his little hat with there, which looks pretty cool. But he will be, this model or one of the other models will be great as my goblin odd knob. So speaking of goblin wolf riders, I have 2 units of 5 wolf riders each. So we'll have, for example, 5 of these models as one unit, 5 of these models as the other, and then the 11th model will then be the goblin odd knob. So that's how I'm going to do it for my fight. The goblin odd knob has, the goblin wolf riders have 65 points for the one, and they have 72 points for the other. The reason being, I've gone with the boss for the one, which will be this little dude right there. That can be my boss with the golden sword, and the rest will basically be just regular wolf boys. You can see I've done some different kind of paint job on all of them. I've gone with like ruddy fur and browns on some of them. I've then gone with like greys on the other one, just to sort of break them up a little bit. If I had better lighting and stuff, that'd be good. This guy is literally facing the wrong way, so we'll just flip him around with this so you can see him. But overall, quite happy with how they turned out. But what I've done with these, so with my list, like I said, 7 points difference because the one unit has a boss. I've also paid for feigned flight for all of them. So what that means is you'll have 5 of them in a unit. Let's just say this unit is being charged by another unit, which we'll use this guy to represent. They get charged. I get to, you choose your charge reaction. I'm going to pick that I'm going to flee. So you do your regular flee where you turn them around, you roll your dice, they flee in the other direction. And then say as long as they don't get caught by that unit, at the end of that movement phase, they will automatically rally and come back in to be used. So it's quite handy. It's there to basically be used to disrupt the enemy lines and stuff and to cause issues where possible. So I think that's quite a good thing. It's like a harassment unit basically, and that's how I'm going to use them in this army. So here we are, the next unit in my core, and this is what you all came here for, isn't it, you naughty dogs? 15 Orc Boar Boys at 375 points. Now this unit, you'll notice at the front rank by here, is joined by the Orc War Boss that I mentioned earlier. So he's going to be in this unit. He's going to make this unit 8 in rank, and we'll have 2 ranks of 8, so it'll be 16 in this unit as a whole, but 15 of them are the regular Orc Boar Boys. There we go, got there in the end. They have hand weapons, they have cavalry spears, they have heavy armor. They have the big guns trait, which means that they'll get +1 strength, which will be handy, and armor bane of 1, which is useful. They have a boss, so they will have a champion in the ranks, which I believe, if I can just pick up the model, so that's my musician, but I got way too many orcs by here at the moment. It's hard to tell them apart. It's the guy on the end by here. He's wearing gold. Let's put him on the end. So we have him. If I just zoom in and just show you him very quickly, I need to do his mouth. His mouth got like, I noticed he has like white around his like gums. I need to make that like red and stuff. So that's something I need to just finish off. He's got like a metallic kind of helm as well, which is quite cool. Just gonna zoom in and just show you some of the boars. Now you can see what I mean about the Orc War Boss having a different color green to the rest of them. That's why I need to go back in and sort of change that. You'll also notice I got some of the different Savage Orc Boar Boys models. These were the original ones. Like I said at the start of the video, that I collected some models before I actually started like playing Old World and stuff. So these models I bought last year from like eBay. I got 5 of them. So they're all just like chilling in the back ranks by here, just to buff up the numbers of boars that I actually have within this army. So that's what I have there. If I just set my camera back to focus on all of them while we continue going through. The champion has Spiteful Shield, which we mentioned earlier. Will give rerolls on ones, on wounds to hit and wound, which will give us strength for hit, which is useful. We have a standard bearer. We have the big red raggedy flag, which gives a +1 weapon skill to the unit, and also it gives a +1 to the combat resolution. So for example, you could go in and get a charge, that's like a +1, and then you can go in and get a +1 straight away on combat res, which is really handy. I've already mentioned that we have a musician as well within this army. This unit also has the choppers rule, which means that they get to re-roll 1s to wound, and it improves their AP by 1 as well, which is really handy. They have the furious charge rule, which means that if they charge a unit that is more than 3 inches away, they get a +1 modifier to their attack characteristics, so they get an extra attack, which is useful. They have Swift Stride, which most units in all will seem to have these days, which is useful. The boars themselves get the Tusker charge rule, which means that the boars get a strength +1 and an AP of -1 when charging, so that's for the boars, which is quite handy. And they also have the warband rule as well, which means that they can re-roll like a failed charge, basically. So that is useful to have. Like I said, they're 375 points, and then you put in the war boss as well for an extra 200 and something. It's over 500 points there of hot boar boy action, basically. They are a big portion of my points. They are basically like a Death Star build in a way, like a mini Death Star build. They're going to go around, they're going to be my front line, they're just going to charge into things and hopefully take things out. They are worth a lot of points, but the idea is you're going to charge in early, they're going to get their impact hits, they're going to use their choppers, get the furious charge, all that kind of stuff, Tusker charge. All these special rules put in together, just going to make them very, very potent and hard to deal with in combat. So that's what we're going with them, and they are the creme de la creme of this army. So we're into rare now, and the next units we have, and it's ×2, so it's 1 each of these, is a Black Orc Chariot, both with 144 points each. They have a great weapon, they have a standard bearer, and they have armor on a 3+, which is handy. So they're just going to be there. I'm thinking I'm going to use these to basically go up the flanks of my enemy, disrupt them. They've got the goblins either side. Our goblins will be disrupted, shooting arrows into them, that sort of thing. And then these will be sort of like screened by the goblins, and then just charge in then and just get some kills, do what they can, that kind of thing, which I think will be quite useful. So if we zoom in, have a quick look at the model, so you can see I've got the boars, but there we've got the riders. I've gone with like a red for like the neck braces for the boars. I've gone with like a lilac-y kind of colour on these ones then as well. So just trying to vary them a little bit. The guy riding there has got like the face mask thing around his face, but there as well, just to make them look a little bit different. But there we go. That is the Black Orc Chariot. And the final unit in this list, and I just could not bring this unit at all. It is the giant. It is 200 points of pure big giant flesh. There's not much else to say really. It is a big unit. It's the behemoth. It has giant attacks. It is immune to psychology. It has its stomp attacks. It causes terror. It is unbreakable. And then if it is felled in combat, if it does eventually die, there's a roll off. If I win the roll off, I can choose to make it land on my enemies and cause more attacks. This model I actually bought in 2 magazines. There's the Age of Sigmar magazines you can buy. I bought them both online. It's like a part A and a part B for the sprues, and then you bring it all together, cut them out, and you can basically make this. But there are different variations. You get different heads, different hand weapons, different things for the left arm. So what I've done with mine, I've given it a giant's club with some kind of creature's skull on the front by here. You'll notice that on the other hand, it has a poor dude, if I can get this to focus, a poor dude literally, dying. He's been held, he's going to be crushed by the giant. We've got another dude then, or running for his life at the bottom, but there. I just thought sticking another dude, but they look quite cool. I want to try and redo his belly. I'm not 100% happy with his belly. It's a little bit blotchy in places, but for the most part, he looks okay. I've gone like a dark green kind of colour on his trousers, which looks quite nice. He's got like a cow, there's a cow by here tied to his back of his waist, which is quite handy as well. But looking forward to using him. So basically, if the chips are down and things are not quite going well with like the boar boys and stuff, I can throw this guy into combat. He can be a main kind of threat in like the center with the boar boys. So that's 2 very powerful big units at the front that I can just use to knock things out the way and just try and get my kills that way. And there we have it, guys. So that is my entire Nomadic Waaagh 2000 point list. I've been Dragonheart, the Prince of Wales. Until next time, goodbye.